Welcome to Two Tipsy Plants, the podcast where we talk about plants and drink booze. My name is Sasha.
And my name is Sasha. Good job, Sasha. We had to restart this intro because somebody accidentally...
Careful fucking up. That's me.
Well, you fucked up with the intro and I fucked up with the actual setting of the bloody recording. So I've accidentally mucked up the microphones and we had to restart. Good thing we were only 2 minutes in, but we were just talking that...
Do you remember the correct way of saying?
Konbanwa.
Konbanwa. Konbanwa, everybody.
We have recorded... We could be a bit too tipsy because we have recorded a Two Tipsy podcast episode 2. Finally, it only took us, a little bit. But we've just recorded an episode on Sauvignon Blancs. So when this is the other episode, will air on Two Tipsy as well. So feel free to join in. But excuse us if we are a little bit too tipsy for Two Tipsy Plants podcast.
I actually think we're doing all right. We didn't drink that much.
Yet.
I mean, it's a bottle down. One more to go.
So yes, Konbanwa. What else can you say? Just to give a bit of a hint.
My gosh, I forgot.
Oh, come on. I was just saying that Sasha is a little bit further in Duolingo than I am. Because all I can say is mizu. And that's not even mizu.
Sasha wa itsume? I am Sasha.
Sasha desu. You are Sasha.
Sasha desu.
Based on this, I hope you're getting the hint that...
yeah. Hajimemashite. Sasha desu.
Nice to meet you. My name is Sasha. Good job. I know that. Woohoo! Ba-ding! You know that sound that Duolingo makes? Ba-ding!
And no, we're not sponsored by Duolingo.
No. We're just, both of us are having fun doing Duolingo. And we both are doing Japanese. I'm also doing Ukrainian. I know it partially, but it's good to actually apply the knowledge and start learning it. I was actually thinking about doing Norwegian as well, and I think I'll die doing all these languages. But anyway,
just do one at a time.
But it's not fun, because they keep repeating the same lesson over and over again. You get bored. I get bored of doing just one. So hence I do in one setting of Duolingo, I actually do a few of them. Mm-hmm. But I go from Japanese to Ukrainian, from Ukrainian to music because I do the music one as well, and then back and back. So at least I can do more. But I do little bits by bits in every...
You, in order not to get bored, you just need to do a lesson and then hiragana, and then you do the letter of the progressive thing and then practice lesson. And that's going to be fucking hard.
Yeah, I still like doing different ones.
But yeah,
I still learn
everybody has their own approach.
Yeah, anyway.
I just know that I would be very confused doing two languages at the same time.
I feel like Japanese and Ukrainian are so different, and obviously Ukrainian is a bit easier for me to learn because I speak Russian, but also I can read Ukrainian easily with proper Ukrainian pronunciation, so it's relatively easy for me to learn. It's more of a that actually means that. Anyway,
well, yeah, true.
Yeah. Anyway, based on us trying to speak Japanese here.
You might have gathered that today's episode will be more about the Japanese plants, Japanese culture, and essentially a trip to Japan.
Well, plants that are related to Japan and Japanese culture, yes. But before we start, can you tell us about poison of choice that we're already drinking?
Well, we almost finished one of the poisons of choice today. If you want
can you tell us why we have two? And can you give a bit of a
hint, wink, wink?
A hint, wink, wink, and a bit of a teaser to our second podcast that we gosh, I'm running 3 podcasts now. I've just realized.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If let me just finish this one, and then we can plug you in.
No, I've just realized that because I was like, oh, well, what podcast we are in?
So yeah. Today's poison of choice is a Clos Henri Sauvignon Blanc, vintage is 2021 from Marlborough. It's a single vineyard that is called Otira. It's a glacial stone-based soils in there. It's quite minerally, quite dry. And if you want to know why we're having 2 bottles, follow through to our podcast of Two Tipsy.
Also, why we're having 2 bottles of the same grape, of the same
producer,
wine, same producer, same vintage, slightly different, check out Two Tipsy. That's two TOO, two as in number two, Tipsy podcast. As I said, I don't know why we did this to ourselves with two Tipsy Plants and two Tipsy podcasts. That's just, yeah.
And what is the third podcast that you're doing?
We haven't released anything yet, but we recorded first episode and we are recording the second one this Saturday. It's called Boop Talk. Yes.
Not boobs. It's not about boobs.
Boop. No, it's Boop Talk. And it's all about everything dog related because we have a doggy. And the first episode that we've recorded is more of what the podcast is going to be about, which is, you know, dog, everything related to dog.
Sasha is a little bit of an influencer.
Not me, my puppy. And we also did like a little introduction of Balto because I have like a questionnaire, which is quite interesting about dogs. And yeah, would be interesting to talk to you about Rosie though on that podcast as well, because Rosie is very different.
Oh yeah, she is a very good juxtaposition towards your puppy.
Yeah, so if you are into
in size and behavior.
Yeah, so if you are into dogs and you have a puppy and you want to learn more about how you can make your dog's life happier, it's Boop Talk, BOOP Talk. Hasn't released yet, but it's about to get released. Yes.
Release me, release my podcast.
All right. So with the research that we did, Sasha went a little bit more cultural on your plant selection, right? And
surprising.
Well, I actually like it because your approach is a little bit different to mine. Because my approach is more plants that are native/endemic to Japan. But also I've got quite a bit of knowledge about Japanese garden in general. So that would be
your input.
Yeah, because like I've done some research, but also like I know a few plants that are like almost staple in Japanese traditional garden. But I found quite a few interesting new things as well. Yeah.
Is there any plants that are a staple in Japanese garden that are typical in Kiwi gardens?
Yes. So maybe I'll start then, and then you will go ahead. So one of them is surprisingly Hydrangea microphylla. You saw the picture, eh?
Yeah, that's why I'm asking that question.
Yeah, so I actually didn't know that Hydrangea microphylla is native to Japan.
Neither. That's why I'm quite surprised. I'm like, okay, pull that information out of you.
So microphylla means bigger leaf. So macrophylla. Sorry.
Macrophylla. Like microphylla?
No, macrophylla. Macrophylla. Sorry, that's my bad. It's the wine.
It's the wine talking. Henri, what are you doing to us?
Henri?
Clos Henri.
Ah. Okay. I was like, who's Henri? So yeah, Hydrangea macrophylla, flowering plant in the family of Hydrangeaceae, native to Japan. So Japanese garden is all about the arrangement, right? And quite a few plants in the Japanese forest, especially a lot of shade-tolerant plants come from Japan and Asia in general.
Akuba?
Akuba, yeah.
Is it Japanese as well?
It's
or is it from Cuba?
It is from. I'm not sure if it is from Japan. Sorry, but it is definitely. Oh, Akuba japonica. Yes, it is. Japonica means Japanese. Yes. Yeah. And obviously hydrangeas are one of those plants. They do tolerate sun, but they are more sort of semi-shade plants. The interesting, I should say less of I've just noticed that I'm like
as you start doing the podcast editing, you see that shape in the, what is it? The voice, the wave.
Yeah.
That is very typical for
Yeah. Well, we used to heavily edit the podcasts when we just started, right? But I feel like we kind of changed the way we talk a little bit, so we don't require that much.
More confident,
but also more conscious about the things like I still say it obviously, but not as much as I used to. And you used to say a lot of like, yeah. So that changed. Anyway, going back to hydrangea, obviously the most fascinating thing about hydrangeas is the fact that
they change color.
Not all of them, but a lot of them do. It has to do with a pigment that hydrangeas have.
That is reacting with the pH of the soil.
Yes. So acidic soil, pH below 7, will usually produce flower colors closer to blue, whereas alkaline soils, pH above 7, will produce flowers more pink.
Magenta-ish.
They can be pink. It depends. It really depends on the variety, actually. Some of them are red, like almost sort of burgundy red.
Oh, yeah, like very maroons, like
Yes.
barkhatni?
Yeah, like maroon kind of color, yeah.
I can't remember the word for the barkhatni.
Yeah. So it is caused by a flower pigment in the presence of aluminium ions, and they can take up hyperaccumulating plants. They are taken up by hyperaccumulating plants. Scientists do not understand why this happens, whether it is due to predation or to attract pollinators. Which is interesting because, like, I would imagine, let's, theorize here.
The blue is most attractive to the pollinators. Yellow and blue.
Yeah, but, like, if you think about it, because your soil pH usually changes due to weather conditions, right? Environmental conditions in nature. That would be due to rainfall.
Rain is typically acidic, but most of the
What I'm trying to say is, like, if your weather, let's say your season was more wet, and because the rain is acidic, you are more likely to have more acidic soils. But I'm just theorizing.
So close, but so far. Also that, but the difference because of the rain pH will be very minute. The biggest change will be in the pH. If your soils, for example, are waterlogged, that will be the highest change in your pH. Because when your soil is waterlogged, it becomes anoxic, so it has less oxygen. So that in turns creates anoxic conditions, which
doesn't it create more alkaline? No?
It kind of ferments, like, not ferments soil, but, like, let's dumb it down and say it ferments the soil, and your soil becomes acidic.
Which is very interesting because I am into composting now. Home composting.
Yeah, if you want your compost to be successful, keep it moist.
Keep it moist, but not waterlogged, because if you keep it waterlogged, it becomes aerobic, which means no oxygen in it, and this is when it becomes acidic and starts stinking. Yes, so same thing with soil, I guess. Yeah, but just out of theory, maybe that's the way hydrangea attracts different pollinators due to different seasons. Maybe, if you think about it, I don't know. I'm just because as they said, scientists don't know.
I'm kind of thinking, like, if the hydrangea is more or less productive when it has more acidic or less acidic conditions for the. So that way, I mean, if it was that way, then the pollinators would prefer the one over another color of a plant, then that variety would probably just die off or not grow in that area. I don't know.
Yeah, but that happened to me. I got a blue diamond hydrangea blue diamond. I think it is a macrophylla. I'm not sure. And I planted it in my old garden, and the next year it was pink, which means my soils are quite alkaline. If you want your hydrangeas not to change color, get the white one, because the white one is lacking that pigment that changes the hydrangeas.
Or you can get the limelights, which are more like limey color.
They don't have that pigment either. The limelight is a hydrangea quercifolia. There you go. Quercifolia means the leaf is like a quercus, which is oak.
And what is the climbing hydrangea?
I can't remember. It starts with P. Can't remember, but it's another hydrangea. They're usually white though, climbing hydrangeas as well. They're beautiful though, stunning.
Anything else to add about the hydrangea?
No, but that was interesting to know that it's actually native to Japan.
All right, my turn. So, I'll start with a question. What is the first thing that comes to your mind when you talk about Japan? Spring.
Yeah. Hold on. I'm just trying to think about something else and not just Sakura.
But that's the question that I was leading to.
I know, because I knew the answer. I was trying to think about something else. Honestly,
Wisteria.
actually, that is on my list as well. And not only that, actually. Speaking of plants and Japan and stuff, Hailey, our friend, Hailey, she's actually currently in Japan. So she sent
I'm jealous.
she sent me quite a few pictures. Hailey, if you're listening, thank you.
Is it? It's summer now.
Yeah. It was still beautiful. Like some gardens that she went through are
Can you
stunning.
please bring me something with sakura flavor?
Yeah. So I've got a bit of a tip. I'm like, oh, we're actually recording like a podcast about Japan and plants in Japan. She's like, well, since you asked, and then just send me like a jillion pictures, which are beautiful. It's a lovely country. Like I'd love to visit it one day.
Since you asked. So when talking about the Japan, one of the first things that comes at least to my mind, the plants, will absolutely be a sakura, which is also known as cherry blossom. Sakura is a Japanese word for cherry blossom, and the typical.
What is the botanical name for it?
One of the botanical names for it, because there are different varieties, is going to be Prunus ceresus.
So Prunus is your cherries, pretty much. Your edible cherries are also prunuses, like the
Apples,
and melons.
prunes.
Gosh, you got me confused now. Prunes are something else as well.
Okay.
Because prunes are
Тоже косточковые.
plums. No, sorry, prunes are plums.
Yeah.
And that is, I can't remember what it is. Okay. Actually, it could be prunus as well.
But yeah, unfortunately for me, I'm yet to experience the smell of sakura for myself. But it is described to have a scent of similar to vanilla and a white flower.
Okay.
Prunus speciosa, Oshima cherry, is the endemic to Japan hybrid of the sakura, which is highly fragrant and produces big flowers, and easily mutates into a double flower.
To answer your question, yes, prunes and plums are prunuses as well.
Produces double flower, which is later used, apparently, for pickling.
Flowers.
They pickle the flowers.
Ooh, that would be yummy though. I actually pickled. I didn't.
I mean, I can imagine doing a syrup out of it, but pickling.
Well, I
with
pickled.
Salt.
I pickled. Well, you can pickle with vinegar as well.
Yeah.
I pickled nasturtium flowers with vinegar just to infuse vinegar with the taste of it, and it's actually very floral. So I wonder if it's used to eat the flowers or to pickle it to infuse the vinegar.
To eat the flowers.
Okay.
So the cherry blossoms. Cherry blossom is also considered a national flower of Japan.
I'm not surprised there. It's a stunning flower.
Yeah. So the blooming season in Japan happens from March to April. Well, it's the northern hemisphere. That's when the spring is. Many cherry species bloom around that time. One of the beautiful symbolisms associated with sakura will be the mono no aware, the pathos of life. Basically comparing sakura and the way, like, when you think about sakura in Japan, you remember that, you kind of imagine that picture in your head of going down the road and like the sakura leaves just dropping on you, like in the.
Do you know what I imagine? Kyoto.
Very specific.
No, I mean in Kyoto they have sakura growing next to the water with like beautiful sort of Japanese bridges over that water. So that's when somebody says sakura, that's what I imagine. Yeah. I've never been there, but when Mum was there, she sent pictures of cherry blossoms in Kyoto, and that's just like
beautiful.
It just left an imprint in my head. Yeah.
But yeah, the pathos of life, also known as mono aware, is comparing the life and how fast it goes and how beautiful it is to a cherry blossom, because it blooms, it's beautiful, and then like that it disappears because it's very fragile. But it's also beautiful and smells great.
But also, with the next season, it comes back and starts blooming again.
The flower does not come back.
I see what you mean. Well, another flower gets born
Yes.
out of the same tree, so there's a bit of wisdom there.
So yeah, the event of viewing the cherry blossom is commonly known in Japan as a hanami, and it's been practiced for the past 1,000 years.
I mean, so many people go to Japan during spring just to see that.
Just to do hanami.
You know what? I would love to go to Japan. The only thing that puts me off is
Traffic.
the amount of people traffic, not just...
Well, that's why I've been sitting on Instagram for the past, I don't know, month, and I was like, yes, Tokyo, Kyoto, big cities, must go, maybe for a day and a half. I will probably go to Shizuoka, I'll probably go to, like, outskirts.
I remember going to Singapore during Christmas, and it's a cultural shock for us from New Zealand, because in New Zealand, we have about 5 million people on 2 islands. And then you go to Singapore, tiny-ass island, more than 5 million people, and you get
Trying
overwhelmed.
to fart without... without
And going to
triggering
Japan
anybody.
is even more than that, so it could be like... I'm just not a big fan of crowds. Like, I actually have a bit of a fear of crowds, so it's interesting. That's the only thing that puts me off. But otherwise, would love to visit it. Sorry. Yeah. I'll just casually chew into the microphone while Sasha is reading.
I just like trying to understand what I was meaning by this, but it's fine. So yeah, typical cherry variety for harvesting is Kanzan cherry, Prunus cerulata. Kanzan cherry, Prunus cerulata.
Is it the Kanzan variety though? Is that... Because you can get Kanzan prunus here. It's quite a popular flowering cherry that is used in landscaping here. Like, we use it a lot.
If it's Prunus cerulata, then yes.
Possibly, and it's a darker
Darker variety of a flower, yes. Darker pink.
Yes.
And double flower.
Yes. We use it here a lot.
Also, it's used as known as a sikayama, which translates as a bordering mountain. So it's very typical for mountainous at the base of the mountainous regions. This variety of sakura has more petals. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Pickled.
Yep, we use it in landscaping a lot, in landscape architecture.
Well, and now you know that you can actually pickle it. This one is the edible flower.
Okay, that's actually good to know, because I really like...
Yeah, they look amazing when they're dried and give amazing fragrance. Farmers grow this variety of sakura and can harvest up to 70 kgs a day. It's a very slow and very tedious process. The flowers are further processed and mixed with salt and plum vinegar and left to pickle for about a month.
So it does have vinegar in it. Nice.
The simple way to enjoy the result is in a simple but fragrant tea form.
Pickled flowers in a tea?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
So it gives you a slightly sweet and a savory flavor of a tea with a little bit of a ginger hint.
I would actually have them with even some cheese.
Yeah, you could.
You know how I like my...
Like chutney kind of thingy.
Even just a topper on the cheese. Like, I love my marinated nasturtium seeds. And they're really good with softer cheese. Not this cheddar that we're having today, which is actually a very nice cheddar from Bears Bay. But like, maybe even that probiotic brie that comes from Whitestone.
Yeah.
Because it's so sweet and mellow. I feel like adding a bit of a
little bit of sweet and salty is always a good combination.
Yeah.
And yeah, this kind of sakura tea is usually used for celebratory events like weddings or graduation ceremonies.
Okay.
And the flower opening in water is the symbol of good fortune and prosperity.
I need to drink that flower, the tea.
Okay, I will continue on how else you can use it later on.
Oh, that's okay. No, I mean, you can. I was just wondering what else do I have in here. Because yours is mostly Sakura, isn't it?
Yeah, I literally geeked out about Sakura.
That's okay. Okay, Sasha will continue on Sakura. I'll just keep throwing other random Japanese plants into the mix.
I just wanted to talk about a lot about different Japanese plants and their culture in food and in culture, but then Sakura just took over the whole thing.
Which is okay. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. Okay, tell me something. If you think about Japan, is there any other
Wisteria.
garden plant except for wisteria?
Winter rose.
Hibiscus is not Japanese.
Okay.
What else? Flowers in winter?
Gosh. Hosta.
Boy,
No.
hosta is dormant in winter. No. It's a shrub. Imagine white snow and red flowers, bright red flowers.
Apples?
Flowers.
Crab apples? I don't know. I can't remember. Kalinka.
Me.
Camellia.
Yes.
I hate camellias.
But they are Camellia japonicum comes from
Japan.
Japan. Camellia japonica is a bigger leaf variety. Also, variety. Sorry, it's the wine talking to me.
It's the posh Sasha talking to you.
It's the posh Sasha with some posh wine, apparently, which is very expensive, and I have to pay for it.
You don't have to pay for that. You asked, I answered.
I'll send you the money. Don't worry. We share.
Show me the money.
What I was trying to say is Camellia japonica. There are 3 different types of camellias that are usually used, right? In New Zealand, at least. We have Camellia japonica, we have Camellia sasanqua, and we have the hybrid camellias, which is usually the cross of Williamsii and some other crosses as well.
And also you can find, if you're lucky, Camellia sinensis.
Yeah, the Camellia sinensis is the tea, is the actual tea that we drink. Excuse me. So Camellia japonica is... It's a little bit more hardy in the snow.
Mm-hmm.
It has bigger leaf, which is more dark green. Usually bigger flowers as well. So it's that beautiful. When you think Camellia japonica is the first one that comes to your mind usually. Now,
is it the one that grows in my garden and pollutes the fuck out of my backyard?
I'm not sure. I think yours is japonica because japonica is usually bigger, and flowers are bigger.
Yeah, it's like this size flower. It's pink though, but it's like double or triple kind of flowered.
Yeah, the reason I say red is because if you think of like a winter Japan garden, right? Japanese garden, you think of crystal white snow. Snow is falling. There is absolutely no wind.
No
and there
color.
And there are bright red camellias. That's what I think of. Like that's the picture. For some reason, it's the Kill Bill picture in me. You know that final scene in Kill Bill, the first one where she fights Lucy Liu.
Lucy Liu.
Yeah.
Well, I think that what is the imprint in your mind is the blood splatter on the snow.
Yeah, probably. But for some reason, it's the camellias.
For me, it was the imprint of you like red flower. I'm like.
Whatever you're showing, Sasha, is not a flower. It's red, but it's not a flower.
If it's red, it's bad.
It just had a lot of friction. The flower.
Lube needs to happen then. I think I'm talking about like apple trees.
I think I'm talking about apple trees
that I'm thinking about. The apple trees.
Okay.
Like red flowered. You know, like if you go to...
You're thinking about flower in Quincy.
That.
Yes. Which is also a Japanese plant as well, yeah.
Thank you.
So yeah, like camellias are, again, it's a shady plant that loves shade. Camellia japonicas actually, they do prefer semi-shade. So a lot of plants that
Simishi.
come from Japan, because of the forest and the plants that are in that sub forest floor. Ooh, wow, we finished the first one.
Goodbye, Henry.
Hello, Henry.
Hello, Henry.
What I was saying? What was I saying?
Shadiest.
Yeah. So Camellia japonica, if you compare it to Camellia sasanqua, Camellia japonica prefers shade, whereas sasanqua is sun tolerant. What is another plant that comes from the same garden usually, and it's planted?
Rhododendron.
Bingo.
Or azalea.
So rhododendron. Well, I mean azaleas are rhododendrons as well.
No.
It is the same. It's the same family. There is a plant called Rhododendron japonicum, the Japanese azalea, which looks more like azalea. So, do you remember the difference between azaleas and rhododendrons?
Lower tree, slightly thinner stem, smaller flower, smaller leaf.
If you're thinking about evergreen azaleas, yes, but also the other difference is the amount of the pistils in the flower. I think azaleas, sorry, I can't remember exactly, but I think azaleas only have 5 little pistils in the flower, where rhododendrons have more. Does it taste very different now? In a good way or bad way?
In a different way.
Oh, that's gonna be too easy to drink. Like, after such a crisp.
After this crisp, acidic, like in a good way, crisp and acidic.
This tastes like a dessert wine
this
now.
One tastes like honeysuckle.
Yes. Gosh, we're gonna be drunk by the end of this episode, which is okay. It's Thursday. So yes, and it's actually a deciduous plant, native to Japan. It reaches about 2.4 meters, but it's usually half that if it's found in grassland, which means that in the shade it does a little bit better.
I hope Sakura smells like this.
So yeah, those are a few more plants from Japan, which are also closely associated with Japanese garden. So you can continue on Sakura.
The other ways that you can use Sakura is by adding it into the rice bowls, also known as onigiri. And this kind of combination.
I'd love to try it. I don't know why, but it sounds so yummy.
So onigiri with Sakura is called sekihan. Sorry, I just zoned out for a
Yes,
second.
you did.
Yes, so that's very typical. I wonder what happened. Like, I think I had another page, but it just got lost somewhere.
Oh no.
It's fine. Shit happens. Yeah, I think I just accidentally deleted the page, but I can remember it.
Okay.
So yeah, you will usually find this kind of onigiri in bento boxes as well, and just a typical thing to go out and have during the sakura viewing season. The other thing you would put your sakura flower in would be the biscuits.
Yeah.
But not the pickled ones. You would put the pickled ones into the sakura onigiri, pickled sakura into the onigiri, but the non-pickled variety you would put into your baking.
Which I wanted to add on to it. It's so cool how in Asian culture, it is quite a common thing to add flowers to your food. Jeremy, my colleague, and our good friend as well.
Besides other pictures that he sends us from China.
We won't go there. It's also food pictures, but we won't go there. His wife Dee, she brought some snacks from Chengdu, the area where she's from, which is in China. And she kindly shared, they kindly shared quite a few snacks with the team at work. And I got the biscuits with rose in them. And I think Jeremy gifted some biscuits with some kind of viburnum flower, I think, to another colleague of ours. But they're all so cool, and the rose ones are actually very yummy. It's not really
don't
biscuits.
like the rose flavor. Like,
It's, you know what? I don't really like the flavor either, but that one was really good. And I find
just like everything that is rose flower flavored, like Mediterranean, kind of Middle Eastern. It's like even those, what is it? Not pastillas, but
Turkish delight. Yeah. So there is a difference in artificial rose flavoring and the actual rose flavoring. That's what I found.
Maybe.
Yeah. So the ones that Dee gifted to us was actually very nice. And I think it's so cool that, because flowers, they don't necessarily produce a good fruit. Like, your sakura doesn't produce good fruit, but the flowers themselves are actually quite yummy and tasty.
And guess what? You can use not only the flower, you can use the leaves as well.
Ooh. In tea?
No. You pickle them. But
Sakura leaves.
But on that, we will talk after you finish your discussion.
I'm finished.
Oh. But you not only use the sakura flowers, you also use the sakura leaves. The typical region for sakura leaves harvesting will be the Matsukai in Shizuoka. That's south of Tokyo.
Okay.
The largest producer dedicated is dedicated to the growing of sakura leaves, and the typical variety is the Oshima cherry, which is Prunus speciosa. And it's used for growing edible cherry leaves. It has nicer texture as it has less hairs on the leaves. And usually for the pickling process, you would use the younger leaves because they are more soft, so they're more palatable for yourself.
I feel like in a lot of cooking or even any plant harvesting where you are harvesting the leaves, you would use the younger leaves, like even with tea.
If it's for eating, yeah.
Sorry, oops, I've just accidentally scratched my lip. Even for tea.
That's very Adele move you did right now.
Yeah, I don't know how I actually got that in the first place. Like I got.
It's a pimple kind of thingy.
Damn.
Ow. But yeah, you would pickle it and. You would pickle it in salt for 6 months, though, not 1 month.
The leaves.
Yes. And that is usually used for garnish in Japanese sweets, like mochi. You would also have sakura in mochi, but you would actually serve it in a leaf as well. And what it gives the aroma of sakura. So it's mostly used as a garnish, but it also adds the aroma to it.
Okay.
It's like very nostalgic. Apparently, it's a very nostalgic scent, event, flavor to Japanese people.
Okay.
People of Japan, not Japanese people. And yeah, sakura mochi is a sweet dessert which has the red bean paste in it called anko. I like it.
You like red bean? Really?
I grew to like it in mochi. No, I don't like red bean in ice creams.
So both of us, we lived in Singapore before, and red bean. What's the other thing that you have red bean in usually?
You can have it in dumplings.
Is it like the bao buns as well?
Bao buns that I don't like as well.
Yeah. So I guess also depends on the way you cook them. Sorry.
No, it's fine. Don't worry. And yeah, the leaves also keep the mochis moist. And that's me on sakura for now.
Okay, as Sasha said, the other plant that is associated with Japan a lot is wisteria. So wisteria, for those who don't know, wisteria, when you see pictures of...
We have said it several times, there are 2 types of wisteria and...
Hold on. I'll actually talk about that as well, but also I found something very interesting. Wisteria is that plant that you see on pictures where there is like a nice frame and then there is a climber over that flame. And you usually see purple
Frame.
flowers.
Not flame.
Frame, sorry. You usually see purple flowers hanging down from it. Usually purple, but they come in white as well. And that's wisteria. They usually smell just spectacular.
Depends. Like some
It
people
depends on
like
the variety.
some people like it, some people don't like it. That's
Really? I like the smell of wisteria.
for me. It depends on the mood I'm in.
In terms of are you talking about the intensity of the fragrance?
It's very strong.
It is, yeah. I like it.
But can you imagine being in a Japanese garden, one of those that you actually would visit as a tourist, and it has
With a lot
just-
of people around? No.
with a lot of people around it, and usually it's just like a podium, a stadium that is dedicated to pergolas with wisteria growing on it. Is just going to be overwhelmingly strong.
Yeah, I'd still go for it. I like
I would go
wisteria.
for it. It's experience, but I would be like, I can't breathe.
Did I tell you that I planted wisteria in my garden?
Yes.
Yes.
But
So-
also, I would not be opposed to planting wisteria in your garden because it will be easier for you because
maintain it,
to
yes.
maintain it because you have planted it under your staircase.
No.
Well,
not under the staircase, but under the deck. So we have a 2-story house, and on the second story we have like a balcony / deck. And what I did is I planted it downstairs. It's gonna climb up one of the poles that hold that deck, and then I'm gonna train it to go along the deck. So yeah, it's
and that way it will be like the only reason why people should not be planting wisterias is the upkeep is going to be horrendous.
the upkeep is horrendous, but also it's quite a vigorous plant. Like if you don't upkeep,
It will overgrow you.
it will overgrow and it can damage your house. So you need to be very careful with it. So hence, like I know what it's doing, I know where it is, and it's actually going to be easy for me to cut it.
It's
'cause
also
you need
quite
to,
poisonous.
You need to give it a very good trim every year. It is poisonous, yeah. Good thing Bolto doesn't eat plants in the garden anymore, so that's good.
Just be careful that he doesn't eat the pods.
The pods. Oh yeah. Nah, he wouldn't.
Okay.
So yes, speaking of wisteria, so typically we know 2 wisterias, right? Wisteria floribunda and Wisteria sinensis. Sinensis means from China, and floribunda
Doesn't mean from Japan, but it's from Japan.
Floribunda means abundant flowers. I am actually questioning if it's Wisteria sinensis or Wisteria chinensis, because there is sinensis and there is. Hold on, give me a second. Wisteria.
Yeah. Also, wisterias are in Japanese anime culture, at least. I'm not sure if it's the same in a normal culture, like in a mythology. It tends to ward from onis, evil spirits.
Yes, it is used to ward evil spirits, which we've talked about before as well. Yeah. No, sorry, I was correct. Wisteria sinensis and Wisteria floribunda. So Wisteria sinensis is the Chinese one. Floribunda is traditionally called the Japanese wisteria. There is a very cool difference between those two. The Chinese wisteria grows clockwise around the pole. So if you have a pole and you have wisteria growing down, clockwise, yes,
It's 1 o'clock.
Yep. So if you have a pole, a post, and you have wisteria growing at the base, it will start twining counterclockwise if it is a Chinese variety. If it's a Japanese variety, it will twine clockwise around the pole. So this is how you can identify which wisteria you have, right?
Hi,
Sorry,
Bolto.
that was my dog trying to scratch the door. Now, with this particular one, this is actually called Wisteria. Sorry, my apple's doing something funny. This is actually called Wisteria brachybotrytis, or otherwise known as silky wisteria. Did you know that wisterias are actually in the pea family?
They look like peas.
Yeah.
The flower looks like pea. Flower.
And this particular one, the brachybotrytis, is native to Japan. What confuses me is this one twines counterclockwise, even though it's from Japan. So if you think about it, Floribunda is the Japanese wisteria, but it twines clockwise, and Sinensis goes counterclockwise. So the way to remember it is Chinese wisteria, counterclockwise, like starts with C. So you would think that there are two C's in it. You know, CCC.
I would be like, Sinensis China, close enough. This China. Floribunda, it's Floribunda. The rest, they probably grow in the middle.
Yeah.
Hybrids, probably.
So, like its famous cousins, like Wisteria sinensis and Wisteria floribunda, it
Very
requires...
daring.
Sorry?
Very daring of you.
I know. I said this one is going to be very easy to finish. It requires support when grown as an ornamental. So
And soon Sasha will require support.
Boy. It may be trained up a tree, which I wouldn't recommend because, like, it wouldn't suffocate your tree, but I just wouldn't recommend using tree as a support.
If at some point you would want to actually take it down the tree, you would probably lose the tree and the wisteria.
Yeah. A wall or a pergola or whatever structure I have in my house at the moment.
Also, have you seen the older wisterias? The trunk is actually very thick.
Yes,
so I would think it would struggle the tree as well. Strangle.
I don't think it would strangle. I think it because it's not a parasitic plant, so it kind of it adapts to the size of your tree. But obviously, if your tree is young and you have your wisteria and the tree is still developing the trunk size, then yeah, obviously,
it's gonna get engulfed.
Yes. I think Max is in the garage, which is directly.
I think he's in a restroom, which is directly.
No, I think that was the garage. I think
Okay.
it's directly under us. Yeah.
I love how she is touching the glass, like hinting.
It is actually a very hardy plant, so it is hardy down to minus 20 degrees. Did you know that?
Minus 20.
Yep.
Sheesh.
Yep. So obviously it is a winter dormant plant, deciduous plant, but it is hardy to minus 20 degrees, which is awesome. Yeah.
We used to have this huge wisteria when I used to work at curator's house. Beautiful plant when it blooms. I quite like the seed pods because they're quite velvety. It's just fun to play with them. But yeah, it grew very quickly and you had to trim it. Like, even though there is usually an arborist who does it, if you want to keep that clean look on the veranda.
Yes, they grow so fast, don't they? Yeah. Yep. Cool. Do you want to continue with Sakura?
I'm actually down on Sakura.
Oh, do you have anything else?
Yes, I do. What do you think is the next plant that is associated with Japan and Japanese food?
Tea.
Wasabi!
Oh, wasabi. Okay, yeah. Yep.
So yeah, wasabi is actually quite interesting plant to talk about. To me, have you ever seen wasabi plant when it grows in its natural habitat?
No, so I know it's a root.
It's like a horseradish. It looks it's root.
Yeah.
But have you seen the foliage?
No.
To me, it looks like a ligularia, like a tractacid ligularia.
Oh, really? Is it quite round? I gotta Google it now. Sorry, I'm chewing.
So yeah, wasabi typically grows in a cold and shady environment, but it also prefers clean flowing water.
Okay.
It needs to be in a rich, well-drained and slightly acidic soil. Temperatures between 8 to 20 degrees Celsius. It's very needy. You like, it looks like ligularia.
Yes, it does, but also, you know what? I just Googled it to find the botanical name of it, right? So, as you said, it is also known as Japanese horseradish. Eutrema japonicum synonym is Wasabia japonicum. The plant is native to Japan and the Russian Far East, where I'm from. I didn't even know that it's native to the Russian Far East.
Yeah, it grows there, but nobody harvests it.
Damn, we're missing out. Russians like horseradish. Like, that's our...
Yeah. But that's different to wasabi.
Yeah, it is, but what I'm saying is, like, that's our staple sauce making ingredient, right? Yeah, including Sakhalin as well as the Korean Peninsula. Damn, I did not know that. But yeah, I see what you mean. It does look, it's actually really pretty. Like the leaves of wasabi are actually really pretty. And the flowers as well. It's got like white flowers.
Cute. And the thing is that it's really hard to grow if you are not in Russia or Japan.
Do you know that there is they grow it in New Zealand?
Yeah, they grow it in New Zealand now, but it's
In
hard
Golden Bay?
It's hard to find the conditions because it needs to be flowing water, fresh. It should be temperature. It should be correct soil conditions, and it should be well draining and shady.
In New Zealand, they grow it next to the poo-poo springs in.
That will be fertile. Very poo-poo, very springy.
It is funny, but why poo-poo? Sorry, I can't remember the full name of it. Apologize for it, but it's actually the cleanest water on earth. Which is called poo-poo springs, yes, for sure. And they grow wasabi.
It was clean.
They grow wasabi using that water in Golden Bay, and they use that wasabi to make that gin, that navy style gin. That
Ooh,
do you remember that, the wasabi gin, the
dancing sands.
dancing sands? Yes, yep. Sorry.
Yeah. So usually, my gosh, it takes around 18 months to reach the maturity.
18 months. So that's
A year and a half.
It's not that much though. It's just slightly over your normal one, which is a year.
But also the thing is that it's sensitive to direct sunlight, which, yeah, it's kind of good to grow it in New Zealand because most of the native plants are shade tolerant or shade loving, like ferns or not Manuka nakanuka, but caprosma probably more shade tolerant. Yeah, and prefers the graveled beds, which also quite easy to find in New Zealand.
Especially next to rivers where you have the flowing water.
And what makes wasabi special? Sharp, clean heat flavor. It's slightly sweet.
Yes.
The heat is aromatic and dissipates quickly, but it hits you hard, but it dissipates quickly. Yeah, it's quite rare and quite costly to have the actual root of wasabi. And have you seen the special graters for wasabi?
No.
So, as far as I'm concerned, as far as I remember, correct me if I'm wrong, they used to use the shark skin to begin with because shark skin is very rough. Okay. So they would use that to grate wasabi root.
So they would use that as nаждачка.
As the sanding paper.
Yep.
But one of the current developments that I have seen online was the guy who was like, okay, I want to find a shape that is the best for extracting the flavor of wasabi from the root. So he was like, okay, so it's going to be a half moon here, and half moon here. So when you go up and down, it kind of accumulates. And then he was like, that reminds me of something. So he overlaid katakana over it, and it spells wasabi.
Okay.
So that was quite funny.
Yeah.
So now he has that patent. I think he patented it, and now he is selling the grater that says in small katakanas, wasabi, 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 wasabi.
Okay. I'm just trying to find that place where that wasabi is cultivated in Golden Bay, but I can't find it, unfortunately.
Most of the wasabi that is outside of Japan is the mixture of the horseradish, mustard, and a green food coloring. So if you are having the wasabi from your convenience store, from your sushi place, that is probably not in New Zealand. You have probably never tried wasabi, to be honest. Kind of sad about it.
So apparently also non-fermented wasabi is actually not as strong. It's a much mellower.
It's much more rounded, apparently.
Yeah.
Like, easier to eat, probably.
Which is why they use it for that wasabi dancing sands gin. They use it for their wasabi gin.
Yeah. Traditionally, it's grated with a shark skin, which is called oroshigane. The fine texture of the shark skin allows for a slow and delicate grating. Circular grating motion creates a fine paste-like consistency. But the freshly grated wasabi should be used immediately. Otherwise, it kind of oxidizes just like your apples.
Yep, so the wasabi that we eat with our sushi is actually fermented wasabi.
Either fermented wasabi or just horseradish.
Yeah. Which is very different though to wasabi, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
But again, horseradish and mustard and green food coloring.
Anemone.
Anemone.
Anemone?
I love how just like very random, like, anemone. I'm like, yes.
Do you know anemone, the plant?
Yeah. Yes, sea anemone? Anemone?
Say what?
Sea anemone? Sea anemone?
No, sea anemone is different. That's a not
like the one that is the house for Nemo.
That's different. No. So anemone is, it kind of looks like this.
Is it different from alimony?
Oh my god, so my app is doing something really weird. Kind of looks like this.
Orchid?
No, it's anemone. So there is Japanese anemone. I can't remember the scientific name for it, but I found out
It's anonymous.
I found out that there is a Anemonopsis, which is also known as false anemone, which is, it's a monotypic genus, which means that there is only one type of plant species in the genus, which is Anemonopsis macrophylla. Everything is macrophylla about Japan, hey? Which is endemic to Japan's main island of
Small
Honshu.
island, big leaves.
Main island. Which is very interesting because it looks very similar to anemone. Like if I am to show you a picture of anemone,
A sea anemone?
not just anemone.
Anemone.
Okay. So that's kind of,
That looks like cosmos or a sespernum.
hold on, Japanese. Anemone japonica, there you go.
Cosmos.
So, see that? I mean, it kind of comes from the same family, right? You see that?
Iris.
No, that was an iris. So it's very similar, but it has kind of that tube in front of it. There are some anemones that have that as
Looks
well.
like a daffodil.
A little bit, yeah. But apparently it's called a fake anemone, which I found really interesting. Again, native to Japan, and it's actually a single species in that genus, which is Anemone microphylla. Another plant that is very Japanese, and I did not know that
I didn't know it's very Japanese. I would associate it with my Russian grandma.
It depends on the iris though, because there's Siberian iris, and this is the Japanese iris. So Haley sent me pictures of like a whole.
She sent you a picture of a hole. Eee! Cheese! Chizu.
Is that what you say? Chizu?
Chizu.
Really?
Mm.
So it's an Americanized word.
Mm.
Okay. Haley sent me a picture of this garden bed that has irises in it. And I didn't even know that there is Japanese iris. So Iris laevigata, also known as Japanese iris, rabbit ear iris, or shallow flowering iris, is a species of, obviously, flowering plant in the genus of irises, and it is native to Japan. So that particular iris, so there are some irises that don't mind a bit of dry soil. This particular one likes growing in boggy soil. Same with Iris sibirica though, which makes me wonder if they came, back in
From
Gondwana
the similar area.
Yeah, back to Gondwana time when that whole piece was one, and then obviously Japan separated from the main piece of land.
Well, if you're interested about it, you can actually look into the there is a new scientific division called
Don't do that because my leg is gonna twitch and kick you.
There's a new scientific division which is genetic archaeology essentially. So they would tell you how long ago did the genes two species
Mutate?
became how long ago two species became separate species.
When they mutated, pretty much.
Mm.
Yeah.
So you will be able to see like if was it pre-Gondwana or after Gondwana, and if it's after Gondwana, it's probably just different species that have grown similar traits.
They look very similar though. The Siberian iris and Japanese iris, but also they come from a similar area, right? Siberia and Japan are not that far from each other.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the irises that like wet soils, which is cool, I think. The other plant,
which is like very crazy to think about. Irises is bulbs. Can you imagine a bulb that likes boggy soil?
I actually think irises are the only ones that I can think about. I think hyacinths don't mind boggy soil.
Hyacinth?
Hyacinths, yes. Sorry, not hyacinths.
No. I think I tried to grow mine in boggy soil and didn't survive.
Yeah.
Cyclamens? Also no.
Yes, actually they do like moist soils.
Maybe no.
No, actually, sorry, no, cancel that. They like dry soils. They like shade, but dry soils. Yep.
Because they grow all over Lincoln University campus in the
Cyclamens, really?
under the tree in the abandoned garden.
In the rhododendron garden.
Between the Burns building and in the library.
Yep. The other thing that is highly associated with Japan is maples.
Yes, Japanese maples. Fucking bitch to grow.
So it's interesting, right? So Japanese, well, technically called Japanese maple, even though it's not only grown in Japan and it's not only native to Japan, is the Acer palmatum, commonly known as Japanese maple, but it also grows it is native to Korea, Japan, China, Eastern Mongolia, and southern Russia. Again, something that I didn't even know about. Like, I know there are maples that are native to Russia, but I didn't even think that it was the palmatum one.
There are maples that are native to Russia?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Hell yeah!
Because you would think maple, when you say maple, you always think about Canada, right?
No, not necessarily. I just didn't know that the maples that are in Russia would be Russian.
I knew that.
Okay.
So, do you know why palmatum is called palmatum? Do you know what palmatum means?
No, but you will enlighten me in a second. A palm of 5 fingers?
Palm. Palmatum means pretty much looking like a hand. So they call it palmatum because it kind of looks like a hand. To be honest, if you look at some of the dwarf Japanese palmatum,
Why are you so conspicuous into the microphone?
especially if you look at the what is it called? Acer palmatum dicentra, the cascading one, the weeping maple syndrome. Gosh, wine is just completely wiped my memory. So she's like, I'm just gonna put it here. Kind of looks like a leaf of a weed. So hence palmatum, like 5 fingers. Yeah.
No. It's like weed if weed has, I wonder if it was my leg or was it me coughing.
I don't know.
Weed is more like all the 5 leaves going into one center, and maple is more like, what is that? The name of the thing when you have skin growing in between the fingers?
Жабры? Жабры?
No, that's
no,
gills.
That's different, yeah. I don't know.
Перепонки.
Перепонки, yeah.
Interfingal connection.
Sorry, as I said, this is the second podcast that we're recording.
Okay, second bottle of wine.
So, Acer palmatum is that kind of maple that has smaller leaf than your Canadian maple, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more delicate. It's more kind of the serrations are a little bit more pronounced
It
as
is
well.
very delicate. I
It is.
had one. It died.
It is so apparently if it's not standardized, it can grow pretty big, like 12 meters and so.
Shit.
Has been cultivated in Japan for centuries, and the first specimen of tree that reached Britain was in 1821. Speaking, like it's very random, but speaking of Britain and expeditions and plant expeditions and
Speaking of something
19
reaching Britain, and not other way around.
and 19th century and Wardian cases and bringing plants to.
Yes, that will be
Somewhere?
our next episode.
So, yes, next episode is gonna be very different because Sasha and I are gonna play a board game.
We're going.
Yes,
We're
I just
going to-
bumped my microphone.
We're
sorry.
going to be geeking out about plants while playing a plant game.
What is
Thank
it called?
you, Botany.
Botany, yes. And not sponsored at all. Sasha actually purchased, Sasha and Jamie, Sasha's partner, and Sasha purchased that game. It's actually very cool. And you feel.
I love it so much.
Yes, so next episode we're gonna do just that. The two of us will play it and we will geek out about the plants that we collect. We will tell you all about Wardian cases and how they came to be.
Into existence and what is their purpose.
Yes. And I just burped into the microphone, I'm sorry.
Oh,
So yes.
it's fine. The technology is not that advanced. You can't smell it.
So in Japan, please correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the source that I found.
You are wrong.
When you put a maple tree sort of next to your house and you use it as a specimen tree, it is called iromomiji. It is used as an accent tree in Japanese garden. It provides gentle shade next to the house in the summer and beautiful colors in autumn. And we all love,
Yeah.
good summer color and a bit of autumn color.
And a full sun exposure
imagine that,
during the
right?
winter.
You can imagine that picture.
Mm-hmm.
So the reason why people like maples, Japanese maples and just maples in general, is maples are very seasonal. They are not only seasonal because of the fact that they're deciduous and they... Come on, yeah, go ahead. Because they're deciduous and they...
I was just reaching out to the bottle and I was like, maybe not. And then I guess it's okay.
It's a Thursday, it's okay.
It's a Thursday. It's Friday somewhere.
Yes, it should be Friday somewhere already. So maples are...
Beach is not going to be somewhere. Trust me, we are the most Western now.
Damn. Anyway, what I was saying is, so maples are full of color not only because of their seasonal change.
Change? Can you give me some change?
Not only because they're deciduous and their leaves change color. There are
I'm so
maples. I'll correct that. There are maples that also change color with their trunk. So that dogwood that I have.
Yeah.
There is maple that does that as well. So in winter it becomes much brighter red. I'm really sorry, I can't remember the variety of that maple. There is also paper.
Wait, you have a dogwood in your garden?
Yes.
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah,
No.
I have two. The Siberica variety, Alba Siberica. Yep, it's not bright red yet, and I wonder if it will get to that. If it will get to. That
There
color.
have been several frosts, so it should be by now.
It's red, but it's not as bright red. I actually want to get that fire glow. Really want to get that. But yeah, so yeah,
What is the variety of the maple that has that pink-white splatter appearance?
if you asked me earlier, I would have told you, but now I cannot remember.
Now she's drunk.
I will tell you in 2 minutes if you will talk about something for 2 minutes, and I will find it.
Inagithe. AKA Inagithe. What else can I think of that is connected to Japan,
Plant-wise, though.
plant-wise?
Yeah. Lotus? No, lotus. in
Lotus?
Chinese
No.
is not-
It's fine, you can cut it off.
Trillium. It actually is Japanese.
I thought that Helleborum is Japanese, but Trillium and Helleborum just look the same.
Similar. Yeah.
But yeah, if you think about it, yet another plant that likes boggy, shady area to grow in.
Yes, so that's
and it's
why
fucking hard to grow as well.
That's why I was saying that like a lot of plants that come from Japan are actually woodland plants. So woodland plants are the ones that are the understory of the forest. Akuba japonica, Fatsia japonica.
Fatsia japonicas are another 5 palmy looking plant.
It looks very tropical, doesn't it?
It does look way too tropical. It looks like what is it? My gosh, pawpaw tree. Like for a while I thought that Fatsia japonica is a pawpaw.
Oh, like a papaya. Okay.
Like you also have Fatsia japonica on your pantry at the moment. Well, something that looks like Fatsia japonica.
That's a caliph. Oh, no, that's a Schefflera. That's an umbrella tree.
Schefflera looks like Fatsia japonica. Fatsia japonica looks like pawpaw.
Okay.
To me.
I found where I'm going. Hold on. Trees. Deciduous. Trees. Aces. My mind, when it's not drunk, it's actually very organized. So I have, at my previous job, I've set up folders with...
At your previous job, she was organized.
I'm still organized at my current job, but at my previous job, I started a library of plants where I organize everything by the type of plant. So obviously tree, shrub, ground cover. And then you go into that folder and there's deciduous, evergreens, natives. And then you go into there and there is like a few of categories like Japanese maples, blah, 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 blah. And then the rest of the plants. And all the pictures that are saved also have names to them. And I do have a folder with Japanese trees, and the one that you were looking for is called Yukigumo.
Oh, is it Japanese?
It's the Palmatum distectrum, which is the whipping one. It's called Yukigumo. I told you I'll find it because I knew that I have it saved. I just couldn't remember what it's called.
To make it sound even more expensive.
There's also flamingo, apparently. Sorry, there's a Acer nigungo flamingo. Not a spink though, right?
Yeah, just like... No, that doesn't sound expensive, but that one is like
Yukigumo.
variegated. Yukigumo. It's a variegated splash.
It's actually beautiful.
I don't like it.
It's beautiful when it's like when you look close at the leaf, but when you look at the plant,
I like it otherwise. I like to look at the leaf closely. I don't like it away because it looks like it's dying leaves.
Do you like variegated leaves?
Not really.
Okay. Oh no, that's fine.
Not really.
I don't mind them, but it depends on the plant. And I just know a person who like absolutely hates them, and I see why people would hate them. So like, no judgment there.
Just because most of the time it looks like a diseased plant, it's really hard to find a variegated plant that will look presentable.
So would you say
Monstera's exclusion?
That's exactly what I wanted to ask. So do you think that Monstera's are...
Monstera alba, beautiful. Monstera tech installation, I'm sorry, but ugh.
Yeah, it does look sick. But it's also like a yellow variegation, right?
Monstera aurea as well. Ugh, overhyped.
I think that's it.
I wanted to ask you about Ekibana.
Which is the hanging.
No, as far as I remember, Ikebana is a dried, like, for example, what you have over there in a vase.
I went to a dog park that had grasses, and I saw the grasses, and I was like, I'm gonna cut some and bring them home and put it in a vase. Hence what you see.
Hence she has an Ikebana.
It's just some grass seed and different grasses in a little jar of a rum.
If I remember correctly, Ikebana is an arrangement of plants in a artsy, beautiful manner. but Sasha will Google in a second. And it's a very traditional Japanese technique. Not technique, but like a cultural, traditional.
Ikebana. Arranging flowers or making flowers alive. Way of flowers. Kado. The origin of ikebana can be traced back to the ancient Japanese customs of erecting evergreen trees and decorating them with flowers as yorishiro to invite the gods.
This is deeper than expected.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
Ikebana is counted as one of 3 classical Japanese arts of refinement, along with kodo for incense appreciation and chado for tea and the tea ceremony. There you go. So ikebana is one of the 3 traditional
Pillars.
Yeah. I know nothing about ikebana, to be honest.
I thought it was like a very common knowledge in Russia.
No, I know what it. I mean, I know what ikebana is, but I know nothing about the spiritual aspect of it.
No, same. I was just like, ikebana is just a very like typical to Japan thing that is interesting to talk about, and that we at least know. And I don't think anybody else have heard about it.
This probably should be the last topic that we talk about today. I want to say that I am really funny about
You're really funny, yes.
about dry flowers. I like grasses, as you can see.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like dry flowers. I don't like I wouldn't mind.
What about dry field flowers?
Yes, I wouldn't like dry hydrangeas. I don't know why.
Because they're dust collectors.
I wouldn't mind proteas and leucodendrons as dry flowers because of the sharpness of the flower. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want, like, you know how you can get freeze-dried roses and stuff. Don't want that. Freeze-dried orchids. I have the orchid that is preserved in the jar. That's a little bit different, but like freeze-dried.
You have earrings that are orchids? Or was it pendulum? Pendant.
Pendulum.
You can use it as a pendulum.
It is coated though, so you can't see the flower. So it's just used as a base for the flower. Yeah.
Which is still cool.
Yeah. So like I don't really like seeing the
Withered flower.
yeah, but I don't mind some of them. So yeah, it's interesting.
I think you don't like commercialized.
Yeah. I don't like roses just in general as flowers, as gifted flowers. I'm such a girl in terms of like
Sometimes.
I so appreciate when like Max gives me flowers or someone gives me flowers, right? But at the same time, I go to the supermarket. I look at those flowers that are like, especially when they're wrapped in plastic, you know, the plastic thing that they put around flowers, and I'm like, ooh, what's that? Ooh, brother, what's that?
Ooh,
Yeah.
what's that?
But at the same time, like, I appreciate the flowers, but at the same time, I have like
Why did you
very
spend all that money?
in a conflict on them. Yes, so I really enjoy. We try to go to Little to the Market on Sunday mornings to meet with Bolto's very good friend Lila and her owner Casey, and they sell fresh cut proteas and
It's really hard to find them when
leucodendrons.
you want.
They might have their own growth, maybe, but they also sell them without the plastic. They just sell them as bunches, and I'm like, it's also like $6 for 3 flowers. It's very cheap.
That's very cheap. If you go to the florist, it's going to be fucking expensive.
Oh, absolutely. Little Market, love it. Every Saturday morning. Go there in the morning, though. Don't go there during lunchtime. You won't.
I've been given flowers only once in my life, and just like
I gifted you flowers for your birth. Well,
you gave me some flowers. Yes, that was
Yes.
nice. No, I mean like romantically, and I was like, ugh. What
you
is
didn't
the
like
point?
it. Oh,
I don't see the point.
you know, I don't know. I do like them, and I don't like them. Hence, like, I have that conflict.
Like it's kind of wasted on me. Like if you wanna give me something that is going to
Give
be
me a
floral,
living plant, right?
give me a pot.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Not a weed pot.
Max has gifted me a orchid. It's still a dendrobium, but it's in the purple one, which is struggling to flower because it's been in the shade. It tried to flower, and then it was like, I'm not gonna flower. And then I put it in the sun, and it was like, okay, I'm gonna branch out and try to flower again.
You know what I realized with dendrobiums? One of my friends has dendrobium. She forgot about it. She put it outside in the undercover frost-free area. Fucking loves it. So just, it's an outdoor plant.
Mine is in the bathroom, in a shady and very moist area. Yeah. Anyway, I think that's been a very long episode because we kind of derailed, but I think
Several times.
that's okay. It's a fun episode.
It's 2 bottles.
It's 2 bottles as well. Almost finished. Thank you for...
Sasha, you look like you had a good night. Thank you for being with us, for listening to our podcasts, for being with us, 2 Tipsy Plants that are too tipsy at the moment.
As Sasha said, please, well, as Sasha, aka me, said, we have actually recorded a two tipsy podcast today.
Oh, they're actually organic as well.
Anyway, thanks for getting tipsy with us, very tipsy with us today, and joining in on our plant-loving shenanigans. We hope we've inspired you to grab a glass of wine
Or a bottle or 2.
and give your leafy friends some extra love. If you would like to help our podcast, please
Praise!
please feel free to follow us on Instagram at the 2 Tipsy Sashas.
That moment when you have to spell your words.
No, I had to spell our Instagram handle,
Yes.
which is the 2 Tipsy Sashas, which is very appropriate, I think. So we used to be, 2 Tipsy Plants podcast, but we rebranded to the 2 Tipsy Sashas
Because we are there.
but also because we're on two podcasts now. So the 2 Tipsy
whites.
Sashas. Honestly,
Stay tipsy.
please share our podcast. We do this for free and we enjoy it, and we would love to have you on our tips. Yes, and don't forget to spread the word, as I said,
And keep it green.
and keep tipsy.
Sasha's out.
Very tipsy. Sasha's very out.